Okay, so let's get real. How many times have you went to follow up with that lead only to look back weeks later and realize that it slipped through the cracks? Or have you realized that maybe you're using all these templated follow-up emails and your leads can totally tell they're templated, and you know that because they're ignoring every single one? Well, if that sounds like a problem to you, which it definitely can be, let's go ahead and talk about how we can automate your follow-ups without sounding like a robot in your real estate business. Let's get into it. And hey, if we haven't met yet, I'm Stephanie Lugo, and I am a real estate agent and coach. And in my program, my coaching program, the Market Authority Academy, I help real estate agents systemize their real estate business so that they can grow while freeing up time for themselves without losing that personal touch. So if you're like me and you actually just want to take action right away, what you can do is book a call with me in the link below. That is going to be a totally free strategy session where we will discuss how these systems implemented in your real estate business can set you up for your best year yet in 2025. The link is in the description below. This is going to be a doozy of a video. So if you don't have your pen and paper ready, hit pause, grab that, get yourself set up. Class is in session. We've got stuff to cover, and I've got all the details for you here. Number one, what I want to cover is the problem with relying on templates. Very often when I'm speaking to real estate agents who come to me for help in their business through the Market Authority Academy, they ask me what I provide in terms of templates. And I absolutely have a suite of templates of scripts and emails that I know work great. But there is a problem when we start over relying on these templates, because that can cause you to lose a personal touch. And believe me when I say your clients can smell that a mile away. It's not a good look. But still, most agents think that follow-up equals a bunch of templated emails and scripts in your CRM. I want you to kind of like put that to the side for now. That's not the case. I want to dispel that, and here's why. Templates can be a really good starting point, but they are not a replacement for meaningful communication, which is required for you to build that know, like, and trust factor that takes a lead and turns them into a client for life, okay? Clients can tell when they're getting a generic response, and they're going to run the other way as soon as they hear it, and I want to help you avoid that mishap in your business. So instead, here's the fix. You're going to use short conversational follow-ups that feel like a real check-in. If you ever think of like a templated email, a lot of times there's just like a lot of text, a lot of content. That's not what we want at all. We want like a brief, one-liner, open-ended question that's actually going to elicit a response. The more you can make it a very simple, easy to respond to email or text, the more likely it is that your client will respond, because they don't have to spend time and energy reading through a lengthy, over-polished email. Instead, you just cut right to the point and then allow them to meet you where you're at. So whenever I think about growing and streamlining a real estate business, the first thing that I think of is structure. This is exactly what we dive into inside the Market Authority Academy, helping agents like you build a referral-driven business that doesn't rely on outdated soul-sucking strategies like cold calling or chasing leads. Most agents think that growing their business means hustling harder, doing more cold outreach, working longer hours, and saying yes to everything. They believe success comes from grinding day in and day out. But that right there is exactly what's keeping them stuck. More work does not equal more success. More leads doesn't equal more deals, and more clients doesn't equal more control. In my world, real estate is not about chasing business. It's about attracting the right clients and delivering a world-class client experience that keeps your pipeline full. We focus on 3 core systems that top agents use to run a high-touch, high-profit business without chaos. Number 1, marketing and lead generation. So you're always working with ideal clients, not just whoever shows up. Number 2, the $1 million client journey. So every client becomes a raving fan who refers you over and over again. And number 3, time and task management. So your business works for you, not the other way around. It is time for real estate to feel simple, strategic, and scalable. And that is exactly what we'll build inside the Market Authority Academy. Book your free business strategy session today, and let's build a real estate business that you actually love running. So let's get to point number 2. This is the number 1 script that you're going to need. So instead of like over relying on templates, you really just need one script that you can modify in a million different ways. This is that script for me, and it changed everything in my follow-up game when I learned this. My go-to follow-up message that always gets a response is some version of, last we spoke, this was a plan. Is that still the plan, or has the plan changed? You are touching on the last we spoke, the last time that conversation was had between you and the lead, so that they remember who is reaching out to them. Because don't assume that people know who you are, even if you are reaching out to them 100 times a week. Well, at that rate, they probably know. But at that point, we want to make sure that we then help them remember what the plan was last time you spoke. This also works regardless of how long it's been. Whether it's been a week or 6 months, this script always is relevant and always works. Last we spoke, this was a plan. Is that still the plan, or has the plan changed? Some iteration of that will take care of 80% of your follow-up needs, trust me. This also works for a couple of different reasons that I want to specifically run through so that I know I'm landing this plane and like driving the message home. It's open-ended. Okay, so see how this is an open-ended question. We're ending with a question mark and not a let me know. It is specifically an open-ended question, not a dead-end email check-in. That's just vague and not going to lead to anywhere. It's also, like I said, going to remind them of the past conversation and help them pick up where you left off so that there's no awkward niceties or like, it's been a while. We don't need to call out the fact that it's been a while since we've chatted. We just need to like pick up where we left off. And then number 3, it really gives them clear next steps instead of waiting and trying to figure out like how to respond to you. You're being extremely clear in a yes or no, or like, give me the detail if you're interested or if you feel like it, kind of open-ended question that's going to allow a conversation to start and flow naturally, not feel like they have to apologize for not getting back to you during the 10 other messages you sent them, or that their plans had changed and they need to feel bad about that. You're leaving room for all opportunities of that outcome to happen, which is good. So we've talked about why we want to, for the most part, kick templates to the curb. And we've talked about like the number one script that we know that we need to be using for like 80% of our follow-up. Well, now, how are we going to automate that without sounding like a robot? Let's cover that. Automation should really support your follow-ups, not replace them. So here's what you're going to do. Number 1, you can automate initial touch points. So automating initial touch points are perfectly fine. Have some pre-written messages or like conversation starters, which we lean on a lot of in the Market Authority Academy, for common milestones, which might include like a new lead response, like the lead is in, you need to set a call. Post showing check-ins, anything of that nature that tends to like happen regarding milestones. You can start to pre-format and template those communications and have them automated for after that scenario happens. Step 2, you can set up reminders in your CRM. So not all of your automation has to be around sending emails automatically. Some automation is automatically reminding you by sending you a task reminder of that person you need to check in with. And that's a really important way to use your CRM and to automate your follow-up. It's not necessarily just like sending out automated emails with abandon. It's making sure that your CRM is telling you who to speak to and what to say. You see the difference? So we're not going to rely on automation to send every message. We're just going to use it to remind us when to check in. And the third thing that I want to mention here is you are going to personalize the last 10%. This is really, really important. So let's say you are using templated emails, or you've done the smart thing and templated as much of your communication as it makes sense to do. You're still going to leave the last 10% up for personalization so that you don't lose that personal touch. This way, you're not having to rewrite the same email every time you have to send it to a client, but you are going to continue adding a personal touch for every email that gets sent to clients so that they don't feel as if it's just a canned response that gets sent to everybody. So at this point, we've covered quite a bit here. Let me just take a look. We've covered the problem of relying on templates, the number one script that I use for my follow-up and why it works, and automating without sounding like a robot. What questions are coming up for you? Leave me a comment on this video if you are stuck or if you have questions that you want me to answer in a future video. But I've got a couple more things that I want to share with you before we hop off from here. So come back and dial back in. Let's see what I got next for you. So if you want to take good follow-up and make it great, then you need to do what I teach my real estate agents in the Market Authority Academy, which is to set a next connection standard in their follow-up. What do I mean by that? So anytime you're on a call, a DM, a text, or an email chain, set the next steps. You will never hear me talking to a client and say something like, oh, you're re-signing that lease? Okay, well, let me know when you're ready to come back and start looking for a house again. You will never hear me hitting my clients with one of those because it takes authority away from me as the professional and puts the ball in their court in a way that I cannot control. Hear me when I say this. I'm not talking about controlling their actions. I'm talking about controlling where the conversation goes. Because for me to be able to follow up proficiently, I have to be able to know where the conversation is headed. Okay. It could be as simple as, okay, great conversation. I'm going to check in with you on Tuesday after you've spoken with the lender. Does that work for you? You have established when they're going to hear back from you and what needs to happen and get done by then, and always guiding them on the next step so that you can be intentional about how you're moving them towards that home sale or purchase that they so desperately want to accomplish. When you do this, your follow-ups never feel random. Your clients know when to expect you, and that, my friend, is what turns leads into deals. All right, we covered quite a bit here. Now, if you are ready to stop overthinking your follow-ups and put an actual system in place to help this run smoothly and efficiently in your real estate business, then here is your next step. I want you to book a free strategy session with me today, because if you have watched this entire video, then clearly you are ready to actually take action on putting this in place in your business. So book that free strategy session, and we are going to talk about a plan that is going to fit your real estate business goals in 2025. And if you want my help in doing that with the coaching program that I mentioned, the Market Authority Academy, we'll cover those details at that time. And hey, did you subscribe to this channel? Because next up, I've got an amazing video coming out about a week from now. It is the one social media strategy that every referral-based real estate agent needs. I do not want you to miss out on that video. And yes, it's going to be just right for agents who hate social media, right? I know, I said it. I said the words out loud. If you want to see that video, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification icon so you are notified when I drop that. Thanks so much as always for tuning in, my friends. Until next time, keep on crushing it.